My next guest has warned that ISIS would grow more powerful under the current administration. Let's bring in KT McFarland, a Fox News national security analyst and former Pentagon official. KT, good morning.
Good morning.
Your thoughts on all of this morning?
Well, I'll tell you, President Obama's statement sure doesn't fill me with confidence that he has a handle on this. And the other thing is, Sandra, everybody kind of goes in their predictable corners, right? President Obama says, well, it's because of there are too many guns. It's a gun control issue. And other people say, on the right, they'll say, well, it's because of political correctness. I don't think either group has it right because they don't go far enough. You know, why does somebody with this mental history, with this profile, which is a terrorist profile, why does he have his hands on weapons? And on the other hand, why did somebody not call him out? Why did somebody not go to the authorities and say, look, we're really suspicious of this guy. He's had this history of statements, and the FBI, in fact, had looked into him and then dismissed him. Time and time again, we see the same pattern.
But, KT, why is that happening? Why was he on the radar of the FBI to the extent that there was 2 investigations in 2 separate years, but still this guy was able to commit this horrific attack? I mean, what happened? How did he fall through the cracks there?
Well, I think here's the problem. We have, from the very beginning of the radical Islamic movement, we have decided we are going to treat all Americans alike. We are going to treat some grandmother on her way to Orlando to go to Disney World with the grandchildren. We are going to give her the same level of scrutiny as we give somebody who fits a terrorist profile like this guy does. And as a result, we've taken our resources and we've stretched them over 100% of the population because we're so politically correct. We don't want to alienate anybody. We don't offend anybody. So what has happened? We have had too many people who have slipped through the cracks. What we need to do instead is forget about the 95% of the people. Have a quick look at them, realize they don't present a threat, and then focus with laser beam intensity on those who might fit a certain profile. It's not an ethnic profile, but it's a terrorist profile.
And KT, I want to bring in former Navy SEAL Leif Babin. He's sitting next to me.
He's terrific.
And he's terrific, and he thinks you're terrific as well. But these numbers I called daunting earlier, Leif. I was talking about ISIS growing on President Obama's watch from 700 fighters to 20,000, between, he estimates, 20,000 and 31,000 fighters. This is the former director of the CIA, John Brennan's estimates. Those are shocking.
It's scary, and it only gets worse. I mean, here's my worry, is that the next step, the next leap, is going to be an interactive online university, where ISIS has now reached deep into, beyond national boundaries, and using the internet, they've reached into the center of our population to recruit, to inspire, and to sort of tell them what to do. The next step is going to be an interactive university. So, for example, there's an ISIS member who's been recruited, somebody who's been inspired. He goes online, he has an interactive course in bomb making from somebody who's in Yemen, who has no ability to get into the United States himself, but he has his ideology and his capability to get into the United States through the internet. I mean, I look at this and say, we need a whole-of-government approach. Leif is right. We need an ideological warfare. We need an economic warfare. We need social media warfare. We're the people who invented Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You going to tell me that somehow a bunch of guys in the desert of Yemen are outsmarting us on the social media aspect of this? I just think we've been losing this war. We're losing it big time. It's been 15 years. Time for a new plan.
I think that's exactly right. And we have U.S. service military men and women that are ready to execute that plan. I think as long as the caliphate exists, as they call themselves, as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi calls himself, and the Islamic State, it inspires people. It inspires more followers to come and join from across the world to commit attacks in the countries where they are, like America and Western Europe. And we got to destroy them.
KT, I'll just add to what your point was, because Catherine Herridge was reporting yesterday that a counterterrorism source who was tracking ISIS and al-Qaeda said that there was a spike in chatter since Orlando on a scale that they have never seen before. And at the very least, ISIS is capitalizing on the murders.
And KT, by the way, we are getting word that the FBI is going to hold a press conference at 7 o'clock this morning, half an hour from now. We're waiting on any of the latest developments because still we have yet to have all of the victims in this identified.
Katie, isn't the only way to address this, though, and to start doing what you were talking about, is addressing the foreign policy of the American government. Because look what happened. There was an inflection point when we drew a red line in Syria saying if you use chemical weapons, we are going to, that's it, take you out. That's unacceptable. And then what happened? We did nothing. So doesn't foreign policy have to lead?
Well, and who can lead? I mean, only the United States can lead. This is a global threat. I mean, what we've seen in Europe, what we've seen in the Middle East, what we've seen now in North America, it's a global threat, and the only country and the only leader who's capable of pulling everybody together is the President of the United States. You know, this is a war on the scale of World War II. Okay, or the Cold War against communism. This is against radical Islamism. And it needs not just the whole of the U.S. government, but we need to pull together allies. We need to go across national borders to deal with this because, as the FBI director has said, 50 states, all countries, all continents. This is a global threat against Western civilization, and that may mean that we have to hold our noses and deal with countries that we might not otherwise like because we have this common enemy, which is radical Islam.
All right, KT McFarland, so great to have you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.